Welcome everyone to another edition of Drunk Agile, the third in a series of prioritization videos. Maybe all recorded in one night. You be the judge.
Possibly. Yeah.
You see what evidence is there that that has happened. The first bit of evidence is where is Nisha? We got to go on our Nisha lookout, and she moved a little bit. Hey Nisha.
Yeah. It's like I don't even know where she is. I just know where she was.
And that's that's your search algorithm,
Yeah.
right?
Wherever she was, most likely.
Screw bubble sort. It's like, yeah. Uh, all right. Third in our prioritization videos. So the first level, just a quick recap. First level was the stuff that's actively in work. What's the order in which we work on that stuff? The second level is, okay, we have capacities freed up to pull something in. What is the next thing that we pull in? The third level now is there some type of ordering? If we have a backlog, if we do have some type of backlog, is there some type of ordering that we should use for that backlog? I think, and for me, I think when people say prioritization, I think this is the level that we're talking about. What's interesting, the very last statement that Prateek made in the last video was, because this is furthest from the customer, this is probably the least important, even though it's the one that you probably think of when you think of prioritization. So Prateek, tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about this problem.
Yeah, I'll just pull on that. It's the one that's furthest away from a customer. The stuff that's in your backlog is probably the thing that the customer is going to get last. Stuff that is active, they're probably going to get soon. The very next thing, probably a little later, and that stuff, probably way, way later. Maybe even if they ever get it. Meanwhile, whenever we say prioritization or whenever we spend time on prioritization, that is the thing we spend the most time on prioritizing this list of options to say which of these are we going to work on when, what order are we going to attack these things in. Um, we have, I'm sure we've done multiple episodes around this area, but we probably should run through our top problems with this. I'll just repeat what Dan said earlier, which is this is, in our opinion, the least important level of prioritization.
And what frustrates me is the most popular agile frameworks out there actually have it in their framework that this is something that you should do, right? That this is something you absolutely should do. In fact, there are classes that are starting to be taught around this stuff. And it's I mean, I don't even have the words for this, for just really how really insane that is. Think about how much work and effort and time and money is spent to come up with that ordered backlog, and you almost never. I don't know that I've ever worked on a team where they had an ordered backlog and they actually worked in the specific order of that backlog. I don't think I have ever seen it ever in my life, because of expedites, because of changing business requirements, because of changing budgets, because of changing whatever chat strategy, whatever. I don't think I've ever worked on a team that worked in strict priority order. Don't think it's happened.
I would even go further because you are agile. Like if you are prioritizing your backlog and saying this is the order in which the next 10 things we're going to do, you're essentially saying while you're working on these next 10 or before you pick up these next 10 things, number 10, you're not going to learn anything. You're saying we're not agile enough that we're going to learn something to change this order. So let's prioritize this, order this, and then just you know put our heads in the sand and not learn anything in the intervening period at all that could change that order.
Or even if we give people the benefit of the doubt and they say they have learned something, because that's what's going to cause us to reorder. How does that make any sense? I've learned something, so I want to reorder the whole thing. No, you've learned something, so that just helps you choose what the next best thing to work on is. You don't have to reorder all 150 items or whatever that is, in your backlog. Remember what we said before. Every decision you make in Agile, you're probably wrong. So you're going to be wrong about the stuff that's actively being worked on. You're going to be wrong about the stuff that you've pulled in just in time. You are really, really going to be wrong about the stuff that's still in your backlog that you haven't pulled in yet. you are just going to be, so why are we wasting any economic resources on that? So I don't know, we're kind of working through our problems with this. I mean, what I don't know if there was like specific problems you wanted to hit on, Prateek, about
No, I
this.
mean we've hit on a couple where things will change. You are in an agile environment, you're in a changing environment, things will change. So any ordering that you do is going to become waste very quickly. Furthermore, when you're doing this ordering, guess what you're not doing? The actual work that customers pay you to do. We're taking time and money and effort and resources away from the work that we need to do, and then focusing on this future ordering thing, which is going to fall apart anyway. Um, some people might have been lucky where they have said, okay, these are 10 things, and they end up doing 10 things that order. It can happen, obviously. I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast. If you have a million investors, one of them is going to be Warren Buffett. It happens. Can happen. But the probability of that happening is so low that all that effort is wasted, and you've put effort into this waste instead of putting effort into getting work done, getting feedback from customers, all that good stuff.
I'm glad you said the W word because I'm not a big fan. People love, especially when we talk about lean, people love to throw around the word waste. They, because anything that's bad, they want to say is waste. And I don't think the word waste is used appropriately. But if there is an example of waste in an agile process, this is it. Ordering your backlog. And I don't, before we get hate mail about cost of delay, before we get hate mail about CD3 or whatever, all that stuff is, I don't know, can we say bullshit? I don't know. I mean, all, I mean, we've already done an episode on cost of delay. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, go for there. Anyway, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say the only way that here's if you really want to use cost of delay, and let's assume if you go watch that video, all the assumptions that we made in that video, they hold true. You know, you can actually predict value, you can predict duration, you can no new items show up. All that is true. The only way you can actually use cost of delay is if you figure out cost of delay of every item in your backlog. Go figure out cost of delay of everything, and only then can you say, oh, I can prioritize using cost of delay now.
Good luck with that. Apropos of absolutely nothing. I was reading a LinkedIn thread on cost of delay the other day. Don't ask me. But somebody posted something like, "Oh yeah, we have a fixed number on our team. Fixed number. I know it was like 10 people or whatever, and I know the cost of every developer on our team. So I can just figure out the total cost of my team, divide that by the number of days we're working on, so I can figure out my cost of delay." And so this is the problem, right? When people are throwing around these words and they don't even know what they mean. But anyway, back to prioritization. So I don't care if we're talking.
I,
Oh wait, go
I
ahead.
need to replug my laptop. I think I've plugged into the wrong outlet. But keep talking, keep talking.
Great, Prateek. Now we need to carry this.
There we go.
So I
This is
don't care
better.
what your favorite prioritization scheme is, whether it's CD3, whether it's Hippo. Are we allowed to say Hippo? I thought wasn't there some backlash against Hippo or
No, no.
something like that? Whether it's squeaky wheel, whether it's whatever, right? Doesn't matter. We can debate the merits of those all day. Those discussions are academic at best, and they are waste at worst. Forget about all that stuff. You don't necessarily need a backlog. You might need a dumping ground of where you can throw potential ideas like we do here for York Agile. But remember, the only time it really matters, the only time there should be any type of conversation is when our system has signaled that we have capacity to pull something in. And then as Prateek said in the last video, it's like a 5-minute discussion. Talk about based on where we are right now, based on what our strategy is, based on what we just learned, based on whatever, what's the next most important thing to pull in, and pull it in and keep working.
Now, if you can prioritize your backlog in 5 minutes, I wouldn't be worried about it. Fine, do it. Just don't tell anybody that you did it, because then you incur the cost of disappointing your customers. when things change. So if you don't care about the order of your backlog because it can change, and you can order your backlog in 5 minutes, sure, go do it. I will ask you, why are you even doing it if you don't care about the order? But as long as you don't as long as you don't waste your time on it, and as long as you don't disappoint your customers with it, sure.
Now, I'm sure everything that we're saying here is anathema to a lot of our listeners. I'm sure a lot of people are out there saying, well, in my company, we could never not do prioritization. Oh, we should talk about the intersection of prioritization and roadmaps maybe at some point too. That's a good one. So somebody remind us, somebody out
We'll
there
put it in
in
the
our
backlog.
viewing
We'll put it in the
audience,
backlog.
remind us about that one. But yeah, we at our place, we could never not have a backlog, and we could never not have, and but I mean, if we just stop and think about, how many of agile practices are built around this idea of it makes us feel good, whether or not they actually are good for us. Yes, it feels good to have a backlog, and yes, it feels good to have it ordered. But in all practicality, that the second you have an ordered backlog, it is invalid. It is valid, right? It's blown out the water, in 5 minutes, in 5 days, and whatever. So maybe, let's think about that. Let's start changing the conversation a little bit. Let's start focusing on what's really important, especially from our customers' perspective. And I guarantee you, it ain't having a perfectly ordered backlog. Prateek, what have we missed? What are some other things that we've missed about the dangers
Uh,
of this level
the,
of prioritization?
the only other thing that was coming to my head was your customers care about when you finish stuff. They don't care about what order that stuff is in your backlog, because that remember, when you pick up the phone and you call customer service and they say you are number 6 in line, you have no idea what that means. Our customers know that too. They have no idea what that means, but they care about when will actually you finish stuff and you hand it to them. That is why when we started this series, we were talking about prioritization. The most important prioritization you can do is the things that are in progress, because that's where you are most sure about how you can answer the question of when will it be done for your customers.
Yeah.
Then the next thing to pull, you could be kind of somehow get an idea of when that thing will be done. Stuff that's further away in your backlog, you have no idea. So if you tell your customers when this will be done based on a backlog prioritization, at best you're lying to them. At best you're lying to them. At worst you're being duplicitous and knowingly lying to them.
Right. No, 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 not to beat this into the ground. We're going to beat it into the ground. I think we've used this analogy before, but for me, the metaphor that really brings home what you were just talking about is the idea of a subway or an underground. If you're lucky enough to live in a city that has a subway or an underground, and you want to go use those facilities. Nobody, like when I'm in London and I want to go use the tube, I never, I don't think I've ever once in my life picked up my phone and looked up the timetable for let's use a good, I was going to say the Central Line, but that's not a good example. Let's just say
Elizabeth line.
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, let's use the Elizabeth Line. I never have I done that. I show up at the platform, and if a train is leaving the station right as I show up, no big deal, because another one's coming right along. Right. So that's what our customers care about. They care about that type of predictability. They don't care that it was train 9 and then train 13 and then train 2 and then they don't care. They just care that there is a train coming into the station every couple of minutes and they're getting something, with some regularity.
These trains are not planned on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, can you imagine? We all got to go to PI planning for the underground. Wait, there's a dependency. We got 2 trains coming into Bank Station at the same time. Okay. Anything else, Prateek? I'll give you the last word, or is that it?
No, I think that's there is no quarterly planning for trains is probably the way we should end this.
That's the next blog post on Pro Kanban. So look for that at a website near you. All right. So for Nisha, who is hopefully in her same, yep, hey Nisha. For Nisha, for Prateek, I'm Dan. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series on prioritization. If we've missed something, if you disagree with us, you feel free to disagree with us. It's okay. You're wrong, but feel free to disagree with us. Let us know. Send us emails. We love to hear from you. Gives us, wonderful ideas. We steal your ideas, all your good ideas for our podcast. So keep those coming. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks, everyone. Good night.